Obviously, the biggest difference people are going to see, right away is in the visual quality of the game. How much we draw, how much detail there is in the environment itself. I think the biggest difference that it has overall is just how much it expands and really fulfills the original vision of the game. We always wanted to set out to create the most organic living environment that anybody had ever seen in a video game, and I think we've done that. That means as you're moving through the jungle and the forested areas of the game, you're going to see life everywhere. I mean, there's butterflies in the air, dragonflies over the water, water bugs in the water, little frogs hopping about, turtles, fish, little deer running through the grass. I mean, there's life everywhere around you. If you look up, there's birds in the trees. They're flying through the air. There's life all around you. In terms of AI and weaponry and level design and the artwork in the game, we've improved on every single one of these aspects. I mean, it's too much stuff really to mention at one go. Well, the game opens up in Texas, 1886, and Tal Set, who is our hero in the game, has he and the remaining 30 or so members of his tribe had been trying to escape to Texas to escape the U.S. cavalry, and in particular a band of rogue Indian hunters who defy orders and decide to slaughter his tribe anyway. So after that battle, we see that the only 3 people alive are Tal Set, his chief, and one member of the Indian hunters named Tobias Bruckner. Tobias Bruckner executes Tal Set's chief, shoots him in the back, and when his blood falls onto the sacred ground that they're crossing, it triggers this reaction. And as Tal Set and Bruckner are actually, battling it out, Tal Set manages to cut one of his arms off with his war axe, and then is pulled through this portal into another world. The enemy forces are led by a reptilian creature. They're a reptilian race that have some humans fighting with them. And the leader of this group is called Lord Tyrannus, and he's kind of bent on purifying the Lost Land, and basically, he sells it as this kind of pseudo-religious fervor that he uses to whip his troops into a frenzy, but it's really more about power than piety, and his agenda really is to do nothing more than to destroy anybody who would oppose him. You're going to see all kinds of environments in the game. Aside from the jungle and swamp type levels that you've got in the game, you've got all the aerial missions with the flight component that span anything from these kind of rich tropical valleys to arid desert landscapes. You've got enemy bases that you find deep in the middle of the jungle that you've got to then penetrate and work your way into the depths of. So you see more kind of industrial type environments, stonework, things like that. And they're all like strung with cables and temporary lighting and stuff as they've kind of quickly taken this old location that they found and brought it up to speed to serve as a base. And then you're going to see entire cities, some of the cities in the Lost Land you have to defend. You have to penetrate inside a mobile enemy battle station that's actually carried on the back of a 2-mile long dinosaur. Turok made its name partially because we did with weapons what nobody had ever seen before at the time. They've always gotten more over the top, more outrageous. The cerebral bore was probably our most infamous weapon from the N64 days. So we followed that up with a weapon called the swarm bores. And in thinking about what we wanted to do, the cerebral bore needed to come back. It was too popular with the fans of the series not to bring it back, but I wanted us to do more with it. So in thinking about what that might be, we just decided that, more than one is good. So rather than firing a single bore at a single enemy, you fire 5 bores at a single enemy that track on the hip joints, the shoulder joints, and the head. And the results of that are actually rather disgusting, and we'll be unveiling it for the first time here very shortly, but nobody's going to be disappointed if they were a fan of the original. Well, the flight component is something that we've wanted literally since the first day that I was hired to work on Turok. I've wanted the flight stuff in there, and it's something that we've tried to do many, many times. We've all wanted it forever, and we were unable to really do it during the N64 days because, unfortunately, the nature of our technology at that time didn't lend itself to flight very well. And even though we did a lot of work on it in the past, we decided that if we couldn't do it right, we weren't going to do it. So in Turok Evolution, we finally get there, and the player flies on the back of a winged dinosaur called the Quetzalcoatlus, which was the largest winged dinosaur that ever lived. It's about the size of a small jet fighter. It's quite large. And of course, then we, had to, really realize that, flying a winged dinosaur is kind of fun, but it'd be more fun if it had 250 caliber machine guns and homing rockets. So your dinosaur is armed with 50 caliber machine guns and homing rockets, and the player has a variety of different missions that they have to accomplish in the game. There are enemy bases that need to be destroyed. There are communications facilities that need to be taken down. At one point, the player finds themselves fighting a full onslaught by the enemy forces in the game against one of the cities in the Lost Land. Well, the nice thing about working on the Xbox is that it enables us to do pretty much anything graphically that we could want to do. So, things like the bump mapping for detail mapping, all the refraction stuff that we can do. We've used a lot of post effects to do full screen effects like, radial blurs and distortion effects. The flamethrower actually creates heat off of it that actually, creates a nice real-time shimmer in the game. So, just the overall power of the game, of the machine, allows us to create, the sorts of environments with the amount of detail, with all the nice finessing touches that we've always dreamed of doing. And it really allows us to make, Turok everything that it was always meant to be. We've created a really great split screen mode in the game. We've had, maps that were built by a dedicated team specifically for deathmatch. They're optimized to run very, very well with 4 players playing. Lots of different environments, and we've taken the flight component of the game and added it to deathmatch as well, so you can actually play 4-player airborne deathmatch, and it's actually come out very, very well. So everybody can get in there and fly their own Quetzalcoatlus and fire tracking missiles and 50 caliber machine guns at their friends. And it's a lot of fun.